Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, October 2nd. A very warm day expected here in the Mid-Atlantic region. In fact, some spots could see record high temperatures this afternoon at or slightly above the 90-degree mark. This will be the hottest day of the week. A backdoor cool front will slide from the north to the south in the overnight hours. Much cooler tomorrow in New York City, Philadelphia, for example, where it could hit 90 degrees today. More likely in the 60s tomorrow for highs. The warmer air will hold on a little bit longer south of the Mason-Dixon line. D.C., for example, could reach 80 degrees tomorrow afternoon, but that still is some 15 degrees cooler than what they could expect this afternoon. Again, D.C. could hit 95 degrees, some record high temperatures this afternoon up and down the I-95 corridor region. It stays quite cool on Friday and Saturday in the Mid-Atlantic region, a far cry than what we'll experience today. And then it turns warmer again Sunday into Monday, and there could be a decent rain event coming to the I-95 corridor region. Let's start off by looking at the latest tropical positioning here by NOAA's National Hurricane Center of a couple different systems. And they're pretty far apart in the Atlantic Basin. First of all, we still have Hurricane Lorenzo. It's Category 1 hurricane now, racing to the northeast in this direction, and could impact the United Kingdom in a couple of days or so as a strong storm, strong tropical storm. Again, right now, Category 1, maximum sustained winds about 90 miles per hour. And here's another system over the northwestern part of the Caribbean. We'll have to monitor this. It'll kind of slip into the Gulf of Mexico, maybe cross the Yucatan Peninsula over the next couple of days, probably in the southern Gulf in 48 hours or so. We'll have to continue to monitor it, but those are the two systems right now in the Atlantic Basin as we're starting to slide down the second half of the tropical season. Well, here's the latest surface map across the continental U.S., and what a difference a front makes right here. We have this strong cool frontal system extending all the way from New England into the heartland of the country, and a cool high-pressure system anchored over south-central Canada. Meanwhile, on the south side, a tremendously warm day today expected in the Mid-Atlantic region. Again, high temperatures at or above 90 degrees in the I-95 corridor region, perhaps a low to mid-90s in D.C., near 90 in Philadelphia, and not far from 90 in New York City. High pressure off the eastern seaboard is pumping in very warm and humid air into the Mid-Atlantic region. This front, however, slides slowly south and east. It'll cross through the New York City, Philadelphia metro areas in the overnight hours, and a far cry tomorrow from today in terms of temperatures. Again, near 90 in Philly today, probably confined to the 60s tomorrow, both in Philly and New York City. On the other side of that frontal system, take a little bit longer for that front to drop southward through the D.C. metro region. But again, cooler tomorrow in D.C., maybe 80 degrees, some 10 to 15 degrees cooler than today, and then perhaps 70 degrees on Friday in D.C. and the 60s during the day on Saturday as this high pressure continues to move to the south and east. Well, let's walk through the 2-meter temperature anomalies from last night's 6E GFS model run. As we saw a moment ago, there's a strong frontal system right now cutting across New England and all the way down into the heartland of the nation, and it separates hot air to the south and east and cold air to the north and west. And that cold air does work its way into the northeast U.S. Again, today will be the hottest day of the week, perhaps the last 90-degree day in some spots in the I-95 corridor for this season. Again, 90 to 95 degrees expected this afternoon in D.C., near 90 in Philly, and not far from 90 in New York City as well. It could be the hottest day until we get to next year in parts of the I-95 corridor region. Let's now push forward here. You see that colder air starting to make inroads in the overnight hours into New England. Again, the frontal system will really be like a backdoor cool front coming from the north or northeast to the south or southwest in the overnight hours. And here we are by tomorrow afternoon. Notice a big difference north of the Mason-Dixon line. That colder air at the surface will certainly be noticeable in Philadelphia and New York City. Not so much in D.C. during much of the day on Thursday. Again, not nearly as hot as today, but still pushing 80 degrees tomorrow afternoon. Then we get into the day on Friday, and it turns cooler than normal throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. Again, Friday can see high temperatures near 70 degrees in D.C. and certainly confined to the 60s in Philadelphia and New York City. That hot air kind of pushed all the way to the south and eastern part of the nation by the end of the work week. Well, now let's push forward into the weekend. We'll see what happens here. It stays quite cool going into a Saturday morning. In fact, it very well it could be the coolest night of the year so far in many parts of the northeastern U.S. I'm talking about Friday night going into early Saturday morning. Maybe some frost in some areas, interior New York State, interior New England, for example, even upstate Pennsylvania. Again, the coldest night so far expected Friday night, early Saturday, and then that high pressure system responsible pushes off the coast, and that allows a warm up by the latter part of the weekend, first into the Ohio Valley. We'll turn a little bit warmer on Sunday here along the East Coast, and certainly it's a little bit warmer going into the early part of next week. In the Sunday night, Monday time frame, we'll first feature a warm front coming through the D.C. to New York City corridor, and then a cold front later in the day on Monday. And that combination of the warm front and the cool front could very well produce a decent rain event. We haven't had many of those in the last several weeks. A decent rain event in the Mid-Atlantic, in the Northeast, Sunday night, Monday time frame before more comfortable air returns by the middle part of next week. Well, now let's walk through the surface forecast maps from the 6C GFS model run. Again, that strong dividing line, frontal system cutting from New England all the way down into the heartland. Rain associated with it, low pressure riding along that frontal boundary zone. Cooler air mass backed up by strong high pressure in south central Canada. Let's move forward here. Can be a shower or thunderstorm late today and again this evening in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City metro regions. Does not appear to be a heavy rain event. But again, there certainly can be a shower or a thunderstorm as that backdoor cool front starts to make a push from the north to the south. And here we go by Thursday. Much, much cooler. Maybe occasional showers tomorrow to go along with that big drop in temperatures in Philly and New York City. Again, mostly cloudy, much, much cooler. Highs confined to the 60s. And occasional showers north of the Mason-Dixon line. Not so much in D.C., still pushing 80 degrees, lots of clouds, maybe a shower or two, but the cooler air really waits until Friday to get in the D.C. metro region. And here we go, there'll be kind of a secondary push, a secondary frontal system late tomorrow night into early Friday that pushes that cooler air mass all the way down into Virginia during the day on Friday. This is the forecast map for Friday afternoon, kind of a classic case of cold air advection coming along the eastern seaboard, backed up by a strong, cool, high-pressure system over the western Great Lakes. Highs generally in the 60s on Friday, perhaps touching 70 degrees in D.C., and that cool air mass remains on Saturday as well. Again, Friday night, coolest night of the year so far, frost in some parts of interior sections of Pennsylvania, New York, New England. Friday night into early Saturday. By the time the second half of the weekend rolls around, this high pressure system will scoot off the eastern seaboard. It allows a little bit warmer air to move back in on Sunday. And again, there can be a decent rain event with this frontal system in the Sunday night, Monday time frame, right in this time frame right here, or perhaps even a heavy rain event. Sunday night, Monday, in the Mid-Atlantic region, in the Northeast U.S., somewhere in that time frame between Sunday night and Monday afternoon or so. Then more comfortable air moves back in by the middle part of next week to the Mid-Atlantic region. So that's it for now. A hot day today, maybe a record break in some spots in the eastern part of the nation, but much cooler air is on the way for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian for